Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Daily Manchester United. We're here on match day. It is Thursday. Yes, cross your fingers, keep everything's crossed. Maybe Athletic Club might just get another red card. Welcome along. We're here to talk to you about the preview and what to expect and who could be playing and all sorts. What lessons did we learn? All that and more coming up on today's episode. My name is Kieran McGinley. I'm glad to say I'm joined by the fabulous Mr. Tom Kent. Tom, how are you?
All right, thank you, Kieran. And we couldn't be any happier to see where Man United are as far as the European campaign is concerned. 3 up from the first leg against Athletic Bilbao, or Athletic Club, however you want to call them. You couldn't dream of a better position than where Man United are, if you are a Man United fan, of course. And I think we're gearing up for what could be just a see-out game, really. Even if it's the most boring one, then so be it. That'll be what it will be to get us to the final in Bilbao.
I agree. If it could be the most boring, nails down a chalkboard, 90 minutes ever. If it gets us to the final, so be it. And to speak of it, let's remind ourselves of what happened in that first leg, because we did record an episode and we had some trouble with it. So it was a bit of a shame you never heard it because we went absolutely mental. But let's talk about Casemiro's first goal. Obviously, Maguire putting in a performance on the wings, of all places for him to appear. We know he's been in a purple patch in attacking form recently, but to appear on the wing, it's a header on from Ugarte, so Maguire's not even going to get the assist, and then headed in by Casemiro, who, over recent matches and over recent weeks, I've noticed, the corners, the free kicks do end up on Casemiro's head, but he doesn't normally get them on target. This one was right on the money.
Right on the money, right place, right time, far post. Yes, it was a fantastic, well-worked goal by Manchester United, with Maguire putting that brilliant crossing off that dummy on the right wing to get the ball in for Ugarte to get a head on it, to put it in for Casemiro to just slot it away. I mean, even though Casemiro is not the best of players to get a header on target, he was never going to miss from the distance that he had headed it in. So it was a fantastic start for Manchester United, because I thought Bilbao had the better chances in the first 20 minutes before United came into their stride. And that was the beginning of what would be an evening to remember for the people from Old Trafford.
Yes, because right on the 35th minute, Vivian brings down Højlund, and this promotes the referee to make a decision. And it involved Vivian being sent off, a denial of a clear goal-scoring opportunity. Although with Højlund trying to slide in, I mean, could you call it clear? I think it was contentious at best. You can see why the decision was made. If it goes for you, great. If it goes against you, you're feeling hard done by. But ultimately, led to the penalty. Fernandes slots it home. I think, remind me, Tom, of your view of it last week.
Well, it felt to me like it was harsh. It was very harsh, because I think the penalty was not disputable. It's the fact that Vivian got sent off that was. And that what really effectively killed the game for Bilbao, because it was difficult for them to cope without Danny Vivian, who is one of their star players in that back line, considering how defensively successful Bilbao have been in La Liga this season. So the fact that Danny Vivian got that red card was a big blow to Bilbao, but Fernandes and Man United didn't complain. They just got on with it, and Fernandes sorting the penalty, calmly done, and United were well on their way.
And then Ugarte involved again in Fernandes' second goal with that little back heel that unlocks them. Fernandes charging in on goal. And as Sam said on last week's episode, he's one-on-one with the keeper. You're not expecting him to miss. It's a lovely finish past him.
It was. It was lovely with that back heel from Ugarte to Fernandes. It was one of the best goals we had scored all season. Fernandes now, at the time of recording, I think he's contributed to 37 of Manchester United's goals. 19 goals and 18 assists. You couldn't ask for more from Bruno.
As an attacking midfield who sometimes plays deeper as well. He's had a phenomenal season. Absolute purple patch this year. Probably one of his best seasons, because he's been so pivotal in bringing us and pulling us forward when really we should have been falling backwards. I imagine him as Rudolph at the front of the sleigh. He's very much the pivotal one, and we can't do anything without him. But yeah, it was a weird one, wasn't it? Be 3-0 up at half time. It was like this otherly world this season. We don't normally go into half time with such a commanding lead. And going into the second half, it felt like maybe United took their foot off the gas a little bit. And I think actually Bilbao, the last 20 minutes of the game, we're starting to grow in confidence. And it was a little bit worrying that United kept being opening up by Bilbao towards the end of that game.
Well, I thought United were in total control in that second half because we did have a chance or two to even make it 4-0. I thought we should have made it 4-0. I can't remember the chance that we had, but I'm sure there was a point from watching the highlights as well as the match itself live that there was a golden opportunity for, it might have been Hoyland, or something like that. I can't quite remember, but yeah, we just looked like we had more in us than what the scoreline suggested.
Perhaps I'm a bit pessimistic, but then can you blame me for this season? It's been a tough watch, but it's nice to have a little bit of a distraction this season, as you said, Tom, and you've said multiple times. This is the only trophy that matters this season for anybody. That's it. But we've got something. Well, we'll talk about sort of preview later on, but we expected, and we talked about a couple last week in the preview for the first leg, that this was going to be a tough game, that we expected Bilbao to be solid. This was fourth, the team who's fourth in La Liga at the moment. We expected them to put up a fight. We expect them to be a tough match and a tough cookie to crack. But the first header, Casemiro gets the first goal and we go in front, and you're thinking, right, this could go one of two ways. Either Bilbao are going to come back or something strange is going to happen. And it was the latter that happened this time, and it was a major help for us.
It was a major help for once, because we've had a lot of decisions go forwards when it should never have been. I even think back to the FA Cup game against Arsenal, where I think it was Havertz who went down in the penalty area, but it should never have been given a penalty to begin with, because it looked like he'd gone down too easily. But thankfully, Bioniq saved it from the spot. One of his rare moments over the course of this season, because Bioniq has not exactly lived up to Manchester United standards. But this one, it was the correct decision. In terms of the red card, not so sure about that. It came as a shock to me that Vivian got the red card, but United they never looked like failing from the moment they just went 3 up and saw the game out. Now it's just all down to whether they were able to maintain that. Don't concede. Don't sit too deep in their own half, because that's when Bilbao will be encouraged to attack. But it's about finding those gaps, and when Bilbao get desperate for the ball, it will leave gaps open, and it's down to United to exploit them.
Well, some wise words, I think, from Kevin McAllister from Home Alone. This is it. Don't get scared now. I think that's going to be the mentality going into to Old Trafford tonight. Whilst you let that terrible quote from a movie that should be played maybe 5-6 months too early at the moment, let's have a word from our sponsors.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Your body is unique. And Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bioniq, the world's most personalised supplements. Bioniq provide 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right levels to optimise your health. No guessing. So click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN2025 for 40% off your first month's subscription. Bioniq. Don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions made for just anybody. Get what's right for you right now.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
So sort of what lessons could we learn from the game? Well, looking at league form coming into this one, obviously a league game for both sides coming into the second leg. Obviously, we know United lost 4-3 to Brentford, which, Niall and Tallulah on their first pairing episode together. Mad, it was their first appearance together. It's like starting Casemiro and Eriksen. You never really see it, but when it happens, it's a mouthful. You've got to watch it. But yeah, I think we had that 4-3 lost, and Athletic Club drew away 0-0 to Real Sociedad. So arguably, and annoyingly, maybe Bilbao coming into this in better form.
It's their local rivals as well, isn't it? Real Sociedad to Bilbao. So it's a hard pill for them to swallow, that Europa League defeat, and then going up against your local rivals at the weekend knowing that they're going to make a total mockery of you after the way you played against a below par Manchester United over the course of the season. But they somehow got on with it and got a draw out of it. But I don't think that's going to have massive ramifications on how they do against Manchester United, because they are without 4 of their key players, Kieran, 2 of which being the Williams brothers.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a fan of, especially Iñaki Williams, who I think I've got to remember this because he set a record in La Liga for most consecutive appearances, and I have to fact check that. But he's phenomenal. So when he's out injured, it's a bad one. So we'll see what they can do without him. But yeah, Nico Williams as well, his brother, as well as Danny Vivian, as you said, he's suspended for the match as well. So that's 3 big players out for Athletic Club before a ball's even kicked.
No, in a game where, not necessarily the season rides on it for Bilbao, because they're in the top 4 in La Liga. So they've got a great chance of qualifying for the Champions League via their league position. I think Spain are the other nation that allow the top 5 in their league to qualify for the Champions League, isn't it? It's Spain and England that have the customary 5th place that would get them into the Champions League.
Yeah.
So,
sorry.
Yeah, Bilbao are not in a perilous situation in regards to that by any means.
By all means. I just looked up Iñaki Williams' record, by the way. 251 consecutive La Liga appearances. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
That's nearly the equivalent of 8 seasons, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's mad. Yeah, 38-game season for La Liga. So, yeah, maths is there. Yeah, you're right. It's about 6, 7, 8 seasons, roughly that period. So phenomenal record. So for him to be injured and out is big news. It is big news, and we'll sort of look onto that and see it as a sigh of relief, because all of them are all dangerous players. I mean, Vivian was at the heart of that midfield, and yeah, as you say, unlucky to get sent off. It's probably more of a yellow rather than a red. And if he's on the pitch for that first leg, totally different game, I think.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I don't know Danny Vivian too well, but he does seem to be the kind of player that is stubborn enough to stop Manchester United from going through that middle of the park. Because I think before he got sent off, I think we were more sort of spread out to the wings to get any form of ball into the penalty area. If we tried to do it through the middle of the park when Vivian was on the pitch, it would have made it more difficult. But we exploited that to our advantage after he had gone. And Bilbao are going to be in for a long evening, I think. I think if we get that assurance goal early on, it'll just kill off their interest.
Looking to United's team news now. This comes from Adam Marshall from Manchester United media team. This is as of Wednesday, the 7th of May. It's reported that Ruben Amorim has reported that training has happened on Wednesday morning at Carrington without Johnny Evans, Christian Eriksen or Matthias de Ligt. It's been reported now that Mazraoui is available, having been rested in the defeat to Brentford. Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes and Rasmus Højlund also had a breather, and hopefully are available for the return leg. Aiden Heaven did a solo session at the base, but he's been out for a long time, as we all know. But Dilo, Martinez, Collier and Xerxes all out as well for long times. De Ligt is also ruled out for the next couple of games, although Amorim's not ruling out an appearance at the end of the season. When he spoke at the media centre, he told journalists it's not a big issue for De Ligt. It's a good thing he can't play tomorrow, which is today if you're listening to this now. He will not play on Sunday against West Ham, but we'll check day by day. The rest, Aiden Heaven doesn't recover. Toby Collier is not available. He says he thinks that's it. And so it's reported Eriksen is expected to be in the matchday squad for the match despite missing training. So it sounds like, we've still got high profile missing in action players, Martinez being one of them. Martinez literally would have been so up for a semi-final contest where it's all on the line and you've got to put your heart and soul into a match. That this lives and breathes Martinez at the moment.
Yeah, it's annoying when each season he gets like a lengthy injury spell, because he's a real menace in that back line, is Martinez. So the fact we don't have him right now is a big blow. But it's allowed more game time for the others in centre half, the likes of Maguire, De Ligt, Yoro, Lindelof even, actually, because Lindelof has had a fair few minutes despite the personal circumstances that has affected him somewhat. But he's back in the United squad now. It's a shame with Martinez because I do want to see him more, and he needs to feature more next season without getting injured. But if we are continuing with this back three system, you need to have 5 or 6 centre halves really in your squad just to help provide those genuine options. I would probably say that Evans has had his time now, but the likes of Heaven, Lindelof, Martinez, De Ligt, Maguire, Euro, that's 6 names there, isn't it? 6 names that would be able to fit into that United back three, when we know that Matsurari and Shaw could both be options as well.
Yeah, either wing or centre backs. You're absolutely right. Yeah, it's going to be crunch time. I mean, there are some high profile names that are out. Not quite high profile signing, Aiden Heaven, but certainly a poach from the Arsenal academy. And in the brief time we saw him on the pitch, he looked good, and now sidelined for a long, long time. Probably out for the rest of the season. Hopefully we get to see him for a cameo at Aston Villa as sort of like a farewell to what has been a horrendous season league-wise. I don't want to say it's been a season defined by injury. It hasn't. It's been a season defined by players who are playing in a system they're not used to, trying to stick to that system and just it not working in the Premier League. But yet in Europe, here we are on the eve of the Europa League semi-final with a 3-goal advantage, albeit, yes, thanks to a red card. But, it's not quite made sense how the system works in Europe, but not quite in the Premier League.
And it sparks the debate across fans all over the world, really, maybe not just in this country, but it was something that Arsene Wenger had alluded to. Should the team that's finished 14th or 15th or even lower qualify for the Champions League by winning the Europa League? That could be something for us to briefly argue on.
I argue yes. I might be biased in that, but I argue yes. There's also wasn't a similar scenario with Chelsea a few years ago where they were bottom or sort of mid to bottom half of the table. They didn't have a great season. Look at them now. They're challenging for Europe. Yes, it's been subpar, but the fact that we as Manchester United and Tottenham have been so poor, worse than Chelsea, in fact, those 4 or 5 years ago, speaks volumes, I think. It wasn't even 4 or 5 years ago. It was something like 3 years ago now, wasn't it? Time flies when you're having fun. Well.
I was thinking back to when Chelsea finished 6th and won the Champions League and booted Tottenham out of the Champions League, even though Tottenham had finished 4th. That sparked quite a debate, didn't it? But the argument is, for me, when it comes to winning the Europa League, is it's about winning things. And some of the tradition has been taken away by teams finishing 4th or 5th in the league to get into a competition that they could genuinely win. Like over 25 years ago, it used to just be the league champions qualify for the Champions League. I mean, even Blackburn, when they won the league, when they had Alan Shearer in there, and that, I can't remember which match it was, but there was a picture of Alan Shearer in a post-match interview in his Blackburn Rovers shirt with the Champions League logo on the sleeve. I mean, that's what football is about. But now it just feels like it should be decided on where they finish in the league as opposed to winning a cup. We got into the Europa League by winning the FA Cup. We didn't even finish high enough in the league in order to qualify for Europe. We had to win the FA Cup in order to get into Europe and be in the Europa League. This time around, if we end up in the Champions League, it's because we won something in order to get into it. Football is about winning things at the end of the day, not finishing, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, or even 16th or 17th, because no one cares. It's about winning things that pretty much define your season. People will look back on these moments thinking, oh, when did United last win the Europa League then? That actually was a very, very good memory for us because of the difficult circumstances. Oh yeah, that was in 2025 when we finished 17th. Do you think people look at it in that same way, Kieran?
Well, I would say it's a good point. It's a good point you make, but I kind of hark to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who says it's fine winning trophies. It's fine winning the odd, domestic cup, but that kind of patches up long-term success. The focus should be on the league. And I think I agree to that circumstance. You need to be winning the league. Manchester United need to be at least challenging for the title. We've fallen away substantially over the last, you could say 10 years, but even 5 years would be pretty accurate. We've fallen a long, long way. We've had, we're in this financial crisis, but a financial crisis that is laying off people, but also building or planning to build a new stadium. Call it a financial crisis if you want.
Whatever that means.
Whatever that means. It's a bit contradictory, but hey ho. But it's weirdly given us a sense of optimism. 6 months ago I was saying we're only 4 points away from Europe, and now I'm here saying, well, we've only got a 3-0 lead. It's a stark contrast in how the optimism has completely flipped on its head, given 6 months. But yeah, it'll be very nice to walk away with this season with the trophy. But we've still got tomorrow, or at least today, as you're listening to this. If we make it through today, we possibly have Tottenham or Bodo Glimt in the final. But we won't think too far ahead. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's think about the match. And after this break, we'll be talking a bit about our predicted 11. So join us after this.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Here at the Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform. Zencastr came out the clear winner. With 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing, it's super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description to learn more about Zencastr.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
The last time, Tom, you and I did a pre-match 11 or a predicted 11, we pretty much got it on the nail on the head between us two. Can we go 2 for 2? Right, let's start. Or are you going to do what you did last time and go straight to the centre backs because we know who the goalkeeper is?
Yeah, well, let's go straight to the centre halves because I think we can agree on the goalkeeper, don't we?
I think we can agree on Onana then. So let's have a think about centre backs. I'll let you start, Tom. Who's on the back line?
Well, I wouldn't start De Ligt at all, or even put him on the bench. I think he needs some time to rest off or look like a nasty injury he picked up at the weekend. So he's out for me. It's probably going to end up being Euro, Maguire and Lindelof, however you position them.
Yeah, I think the only difference in that would be I would probably say if Mazraoui is fit, he'll probably start the centre back, and I think he would change over for Lindelof. So I think Euro, Maguire, Lindelof is a good shout. But I'm going to go for Euro, Maguire, and Mazraoui. Wing backs, then. Let's have this. What do you reckon?
Oh, I thought Mazraoui was going to be the right wing back with Doggo being on the left.
Interesting. Yeah. Am I changing my mind? No, because Dallow's out. I can work with this. In that case, I'm going to go. Where am I going to go? I don't really want to play Dorgu on the right. I'm going to have to go back on myself, aren't I? Or is that it? Or you're not letting me go back? Have you shut the gates?
I might have just forced your hand there, Kieran.
It's all right. Look, I'm going to go somewhat unconventional. If Shaw is fit, I reckon he's going to start on the left wing back. Dorgu on the right. It's unconventional. I know it harks of Amarum's first game where he had Dorgu and played him on the other side, and it was like, what's going on here? But that's what I'm going to go for because I've made my bed with Mazraoui at centre back. I'm going to line it now. We'll see what happens. Holding midfield, this might be a little bit easier. Let's hope.
Casemiro and Ugarte, move on.
This is the quick. We went for record time last time around. We're going to be even quicker. Yeah, Ugarte, Casemiro. I would probably again. Well, Bruno Fernandes didn't start deeper last time, so he's probably not going to start deeper again. You can't go 2 for 2. Yeah, Ugarte, Casemiro. Yeah, I think that's pretty straightforward. Looking at your attacking midfielders,
I would be tempted to start Bruno alongside Mount because Mount was excellent at the weekend, wasn't he? And I think as he's building some form of confidence now, and we've got to remember Amorim's an admirer of Mount, I would leave Garnacho on the bench and bring him on just to bring that little bit of leverage in that attacking line and make it more difficult for Bilbao once those players get a little bit more tired on the pitch. Fernandes and Mount in the attacking mids for me.
I agree with Fernandes. I would love Mount to start. Do I think he's going to start? No. I think Amorim's going to be a bit careful with Mount because the time he's had him, he's been injured for quite some time. And as you say, Aram's been a huge admirer of Mount. He loves the sort of style of play he is. He loves the player that he is. But he's been a little bit unfortunate. He's been unfortunate with injuries since his time at Manchester United. I see Garnacho starting, but I would see Mount on the bench and probably be brought on after the hour mark, just so he can build some fitness. I think Amorim would realise that maybe it's a bit too early to start Mount. Maybe one eye on the final and see where we go from there. So for me, it'll probably be Fernandes and Garnacho. And then, well, we've only got one registered senior striker, with Obi not even registered for the Europa League. Take it away, Tom.
Rasmus Højlund.
What a shock. Nobody saw that coming. I think he did okay in the last game. He managed to drag the defence out for, I think it was the Ugarte goal for a couple of matches ago. Position-wise, he's great. And if the sort of balls that Garnacho were delivering in the second half against Brentford could fall to Højlund, he'll get a goal. And, I'm going to make a statement here. I'm going to say, in a low-stakes game, hopefully low-stakes game, Højlund's going to score. There, I've said it.
Well, he doesn't have too bad of a goal-scoring record in the Europa League this season, thinking of it, or in Europe altogether. So if there's a night where United can afford to take a little bit more risk, Højlund could well get on the end of something in the penalty area. Let's hope.
Let's hope so. Yeah, 5 goals he's got in the Europa League from 13 matches played. So not the worst return, but hopefully a little bit better. Hopefully he can press on, get a couple more goals for tonight. So there you have it then. There's our predicted 11. Pretty much the same all the way through. 2 or 3 changes. A bit of a debate where Mazraoui starts, but we'll see on that one. The only thing that's left, Tom, is a score prediction. And of course, what's the aggregate score going to be?
Do we score in the match?
You'd be a pessimist to say no. As am I. I think we will. Part of me is thinking we're probably going to lose on the night, but it's going to be like 2-1 to Athletic Club. I think Athletic will scare us, and then, as you say, they'll be pushing forward for that third goal, leave themselves open, and someone like Højlund comes up with 85th minute, and it just shell shocks them. Well, I hate to think like a pessimist, but it's just like last week. I'm going to say it's going to be a tough game.
It's easy enough for us to predict, but it's just when you're watching it on the pitch, they can all of a sudden just change the way they play or change the desire. I think it'll be 2-1 to Manchester United on the night and a 5-1 aggregate win. I think, like you say, I think Højlund will get a goal. And I think Bruno Fernandes may well get another penalty and score from it.
Ooh, very nice. Very nice. Lovely prediction. So we've got Bruno Fernandes scoring a penalty from Tom. We've got Højlund scoring a goal, any goal from me. Put him on the penalty. There you go. That'll
even
me.
If it's a tap in from 2 yards, I couldn't care less.
As long as we get through. Well, there you go then. A win predicted for Tom on the night and on aggregate. A loss for me on the night, but a win overall on aggregate. And it wouldn't be an undeserved route to the final if that were the case. And let's hope that is the case. Tom, thank you so much for joining me on today's episode.
Thank you very much. And hopefully by the time the match is over, we'll be heading back to the Estadio St Mamés for the Europa League final in less than a fortnight.
Yes, let's fingers crossed, eh? Fingers crossed. Well, thank you so much for joining us on today's episode here of the Daily Manchester United. If you do want to follow us on all the social media and start a conversation on Twitter, on X, on Instagram, on Facebook, and on TikTok, it's at GSPN Man United on all of those platforms. And if you're listening on Spotify or on Apple and think, you know what, I'd actually rather watch these episodes, I've got some good news for you. You can now. We have a YouTube channel. It's GSPN Daily Manchester United Podcast. It's so long, so you can remember it. You will remember it. And you can watch the episodes there. All of the episodes live and free for you to explore. In the meantime, though, thank you so much for listening and watching if you're on YouTube. We'll speak to you after the match and shortly after the match, where this time I'm going to cross my fingers and hope that Manchester United get their way through and we get a podcast delivered to you on the Thursday night. In the meantime, take care of yourselves. We'll see you after the match.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.